Boom, Agent Winston Otter. He's been called the human sponge.
Our stylists are trained to understand the nuances of cutting men's hair.
Less pomp, more adore, huh, Brittany?
Square face, wavy hair.
Mid-fade with a textured top. Finish it off with a hard part and taper that neckline, coach.
Cowlick, what's the move? It's not just all about hard work here.
Hit all. 7. Pressure. Point. Yeah.
It takes expertise to be a sport clip stylist.
Here?
That's a spot. Right there, huh?
Sport Clips, the pros in men's hair.
Happy New Year to each and every hockey fan that watches this programming each and every week. It's Ice Time with yours truly, Nick Hulberg, here on the PSP Network. Ice Time powered and delivered by our friends at Sport Clips of Minot and Bismarck. Sport Clips, where you can sign in with a hairstylist today at your convenience. Sports Clips, they really are known for treating you like the real MVP at Sport Clips. They bring you Ice Time each and every week along with our friends at Serve Pro. I am Nick Hulberg. This is Ice Time, and we've got a lot to talk about here today on the 2nd of January, 2023. We've got a great show for you today. We have an interview that is going to blow your mind. And pardon the pun here, it really will be mind-blowing for you. Jake Stach, an official in Minot, North Dakota, had brain surgery on the 20th of December. This year, just happened. On the 29th of December, he officiated in the North American Hockey League and the rivalry matchup with the Bismarck Bobcats and Minot Minotauros at the Mesa Arena, back-to-back games, only 9 days apart. We talked to Jake Stach tonight. We also talked to the West Fargo Events Executive Director, Mike Amundson. 68 teams, 70 hockey games outdoors for the Essentia Health West Fargo Winter Classic. You want to talk about an event that was put together and done real well. That's one right there that is also a little bit mind-blowing. We'll talk to Mike Amundson. That comes up in overtime. Jake Stach's in the third period. But first, time for our first period. And in the first period, we take a look at the weekend recap. Here on the PSP Network, Ice Time with yours truly, Nick Hulberg. Let's hop right into it. We'll start here on the weekend recap with our player tracker brought to you by Sport Clips, and we look across the hockey landscape and some of the players that we've got our eyes on. Former players inside of North Dakota high school hockey that have gone on to hockey careers past the high school days. One of them, Mason Morelli. He's on his way right now in the American Hockey League to having a breakout year in the American League, if you will. 20 points for him right now. He played for the Minotauros of Minot and the Fargo Force. That was before he went to the University of Nebraska, Omaha. Of course, he played his youth hockey at Minot and the Minot Hockey Boosters for the Wolves. Played for Minot High for a few years as well. 32 games played for him. Luke Johnson from Grand Forks, North Dakota, also in the American League. They're on the other side of the country, however, from each other. He's in San Jose with the Barracudas. 8 points in 32 games for Luke Johnson. Colby Entz, Minot, North Dakota, Northern Michigan, Division I college hockey. 16 games played for Entz. He's +4 from the back end on the season. Cole Spicer, University of Minnesota Duluth, NCAA Division I college hockey. He's from Grand Forks. That's a kid that's been fun to watch ever since his youth days. 3 points in 17 games for Cole Spicer. Paige Ackerman at Minot State playing D1 ACHA college hockey. The former Majet, 6 points from the back end playing for the Beavers. She's played in all 16 games on the year. Kirkland Irie from Bismarck off at Bemidji State playing for Bemidji State. Let's take a look now at the junior hockey world and what happened over the weekend. There were plenty of games to be played and some big ones to talk about. Let's start with the Fargo Force. You see their Twitter feed right there on the screen. They waxed the Buccaneers from Des Moines 6-0 over the holiday. They're 19-5-0-3 on the season. They're in first place in the Western Conference, second place in the entire USHL right now. They are dominating. 112 goals for, 62 against. I mean, this is a team that they're going to be tough to contend with down the stretch here as well. 7-2-0-1 for them. They travel to Lincoln on the 6th and 7th of this week coming up. Cole Knuble leads them number 8 in the USHL right now, 29 points for him. Not a bad outing so far here in the 22-23 campaign. A little closer to my neck of the woods here in the Magic City, the Toros and the Bobcats, two teams that I worked for. I actually got my start in broadcasting with the Bismarck Bobcats. That was plenty of years ago, early 2000s for me, right out of high school. The Cats back then were back-to-back Born Cup champions. This year, they're in 6th place right now inside the Central Division standings. Here's the kicker. I don't think that you need to worry if you're a Bismarck fan about the Bobcats, because I think Lane Sedevy is going to get that team turned in the right direction. We'll have Coach Sedevy on next week on Ice Time to talk about it. Yeah, they're 20 points out of first place, but you look at the top 4 that will go into the playoffs. They're still in contention right now with North Iowa, but they are 11-15-2-1. They started a similar way last year and climbed the ladder inside of the Central Division right into the playoffs. Bobcats, 99 goals for, 99 against. They're 4-6 in their last 10. Evan Hunter having himself a fairly good year. 24 points, 9 goals, 15 assists for him. They did lose to Minot 3 straight games, however, as the Minotauros hosted Bismarck in the Magic City. And then on New Year's Eve, the traditional New Year's Eve with the Bobcats at the VFW Sports Center ended up in a 7-5 victory for Minot as the Bobcats fall to the Toros on New Year's Eve to close out 2022. This week, North Iowa will be the host to Bismarck on the 6th and the 7th. Then North Iowa comes to Bismarck on the 13th and 14th. And I'm telling you right now, if you don't get tickets for the Bobcats matchup coming up on the 13th and 14th at the VFW Sports Center in Bismarck, you're missing out, because that is going to be a rowdy one. Anytime those teams get together, 4 straight matchups in a row, you know that it's going to be a bit of a war. You look at Minot in the Central Division. Number 3 right now in the Central, 16-13-1-1 for them. They've also gone 4-6 in their last 10. They've given up 102 goals on the season compared to the 97 they've scored. They're going to be at St. Cloud on the 5th, 6th, and 7th coming up this week. Busy week for the Toros, a 3-set in St. Cloud. They return home on the 13th and 14th of January to take on Aberdeen at the Pepsi Rink at Mesa Arena. There's a look inside of the North American Hockey League and the USHL in our great state of North Dakota. On to college hockey. Not a whole lot to report here in the ACHA Division 1 and 2 ranks right now. That's because the kids from college have been on college break for Christmas. Number 1 ranked Minot. They're 15-1. The Beavers are on the road this week. They go to Midland on the 6th and the 7th. Jamestown's ranked 8 right now. They travel to Colorado State University on the 7th and 8th. On January 4th, Mary and Dakota College at Botno come together, and Montana State will host the Williston Tetons coming up this weekend as well. The Big Dogs, North Dakota, was in action at the Ralph over the holiday on the 31st. The U.S. development team came to town. That's the top 18 and under American citizens in the United States of America playing for the United States Development Team 18U, and North Dakota beat them 4-3 in overtime. That was a nail-biter and a barn burner. Props to Midco Sports Network for another premier coverage of another premier job and their coverage of North Dakota hockey, a fun one to watch. There's a typo on this graphic you can see there. It's Lindenwood on the 6th and the 7th at the Ralph. Friday night, 7:07 against Lindenwood. On Saturday, 6:07, the Hawks play the Lions at the Ralph Engelstedt Arena. Jackson Blake leads the way for the Fighting Hawks. The freshman forward's got 21 points. You look at the standings inside of the NCHC, and this is a non-conference matchup and series this weekend for the Fighting Hawks. But North Dakota needs to do some work right now. 12 points. They sit towards the bottom of the barrel inside of the NCHC. The numbers on the left of your screen, you can see their overall record in NCAA play, 7-8-4 for them. They're 3-5-2 inside their conference, 7th out of 8th place inside of the standings. They're not ranked right now in the U.S. College Hockey Online poll. In the pairwise rankings, they're 21st. They're going to want to climb that ladder if they can get back into the NCAA Division I college hockey tournament. That's what North Dakota did over the weekend. That's what they got coming up this weekend. We've got plenty more to talk about as we'll turn our attention to the high school ranks when we come back here to Ice Time with yours truly, Nick Hulberg. Stick around, I'm telling you, after we talk high school hockey, we have two great conversations for you folks here tonight on Ice Time on the PSP Network. We're back with more from the PSP Network offices coming up in just a few moments here. It's Ice Time.
Less pomp, more adore, huh, Brittany?
Square face wavy hair.
Mid-fade with a textured top. Finish it off with the hard part and taper that neckline, coach.
Cowlick, what's the move? It's not just all about hard work here.
Hit all. 7. Pressure. Point. Yeah.
It takes expertise to be a sport clip stylist.
Here.
That's a spot. Right there, huh?
Sport Clips, the pros in men's hair.
It's water. Boom. Agent Winston Otter. He's been called the human sponge.
Ice Time with yours truly, Nick Hulberg, here on the PSP Network. Glad to have you all here with us for another edition of Ice Time. Big games this week in North Dakota high school hockey. We've got a couple coming your way right here on the PSP Network and some fun ones here this week. We'll get into that in just a moment as we get set and ready to take a look at period number 2, where we talk high school hockey in our great state and high school hockey alive and well, heading into the 23 portion of their 22-23 season. Let's take a look right now at the standings inside of North Dakota boys high school hockey. We'll look at the girls as well, but first let's start with the boys. And in the boys ranks right now, there's a couple teams that have some pretty good records inside of the state of North Dakota. Red River, probably the team to beat as of right now. The kids from Fargo South Shanley saying, come on, man. Something wrong with you or what? South Shanley beat Red River earlier on this year, but it's the Bruins that have 19 points. Make it 18 points in the EDC right now. They're 9-2 overall on the season. Davies sits number 2 with 15 points. They've gone 4-3 in conference play. Fargo North and Owen Branson and company, 7-2-1 on the year for them. Central from Grand Forks, 6-4 on the year. They're number 4. Here's Red River right now sitting at number 5 in the conference. That's because they've only played in 5 games on the year. Red River sits on a 7-1 mark inside of this campaign. They're a team that's going to be tough to contend with. Anybody inside the top 5 in the EDC, we know they're going to be good. 7 points for Cheyenne. West Fargo, the Packers have 5, 3 for Devil's Lake. Grafton doesn't have any points inside of the conference right now. They're 0-5 on the year, but they have 3 wins on the season. Mayville, Portland, CG, 6-2 for a record, but they're not playing in the high school standings, if you will. They'll have a buy-in to try to get into that EDC tournament at the end of the season. In the West region, Jamestown's number 1, 3-3 overall for their record, 12 points for them on the year. Minot High, they're 7-1. They've got the best record in the West region by a mile. Their most recent play, they got smacked around by the Roseau Rams 10-2 at the Roseau Holiday Tournament. And if you don't know about the Roseau Rams, know that they are legit in Minnesota high school hockey, and they're legit again here this year. Roseau takes down Minot for their first loss of the season. The Demons are at 2-7 inside of North Dakota high school hockey. They sit right now 2-3 inside of the West. They've got 9 points. 8 for Mandan. They're going to be a gritty hockey team and a tough one to beat. They're 4-2. How about Bismarck Legacy right behind Dickinson right now? Some of the scores inside of West Region play after the holiday break, kind of surprising. The Midgets right now with 8 points. Dallas Kusten's team, always going to be tough to play. They're a lunch pail and hard hat group. And Dallas Kuntz has them pointed in the right direction. They've got 8 points. The Legacy Sabres, led by Mario Lamoureux, former University of North Dakota Fighting Sioux. And Lamoureux's Legacy Sabres fell to Botno the other day, 3-1. That was in Bismarck on Legacy's home ice. And Botno creeping up in those standings right now at number 7. They're 2-2 inside of conference play. Interesting scores across the board. Century at number 8. They come to Minot tomorrow to take on Minot High. Matt Morelli and I will have the call of that one tomorrow, starting with the Shields pregame show at 7 p.m. Williston at number 9. Williston 3-5 on the year. And then Hazen-Beulah's 0-6 on the season. Hazen-Beulah winless here in 22-23. Look at some of those other scores from around the holiday break and just over the weekend. We get into action tomorrow with some big ones. Williston and Botno Rugby, that's a big one. That's at the Lumberdome. Century comes to mind, and as mentioned, that's a big one at the Pepsi Rink. Mine at 4-1 in the previous matchup this year. You've got Dickinson at Bismarck High. You've got Red River at East Grand Forks. That's not a conference game, but that's a dogfight each and every year. Fargo South Shanley's at Mandan. West Fargo's at Fargo South. West Fargo Cheyenne at Devil's Lake. That's Tuesday coming up tomorrow night. Big games there. Let's look at the top producers in North Dakota boys high school hockey right now. East region dominated right now for the top producers in the state. Landon Carter from Grafton Park River, 22 points for him on the season in 8 games played. How about that pace? He is working it right now. 22 points for Mikey Coleman for Red River. The defending state champions have a handful on this list. Noah Mayhews from Mayport, 21 points for him. The West Region player, the only West Region player in the top 5 right now, Drew Beasley from Legacy, 19 points for the sophomore, one of the promising talents inside of North Dakota high school hockey. Zach Bourne from Fargo South, 19. Owen Branson from North with 18. Carter Spruill from Red River with 17. Marcus Butts from Legacy, the only other player in the West Region to crack the top 10. He's got 16, along with Connor Holm from Fargo North. Grant Gardner from Red River on this list. There are a few on the bottom of this list that do need to be corrected. Bjorgi is Grand Forks Central, but Beadall and Dylan Jackson are Red River. They're listed as Grand Forks Central on this list. That is incorrect. Let's take a look now at the girls' standings in North Dakota high school hockey. Mandan drops out of the top spot. They fall to number 3 as Fargo North South continues to tear. They're 4-1-1 on the year, 17 points for them. Grand Forks, the Knight Riders, are 4-2-1. They sit with 15 points, 5-2-2 overall on the season. We talked about Mandan being the team of the West this year that's tough to beat and the one that has some real promise to go deep at that state tournament. 6-1 for the Mandan Braves on the season. 4-3 for West Fargo United. Davies sits number 5 with 14 points. Right behind them at their heels is Williston. The Coyotes having a good year. Minot High's at 7 right now with 10 points. Jamestown at 8. Bismarck High, Legacy at 9. Devils Lake at 10. Century's at 11 with 2 points. And Dickinson winless at 0-7 on the year. Games coming up tomorrow on Tuesday. Well, we'll have a good one for you. Bismarck High and Legacy comes to Minot for a doubleheader at the Pepsi Rink at Mesa Arena. We'll have that call at 4:40 for the Shields pregame show. 5 p.m. face-off tomorrow night for girls high school hockey on the PSP Network. We'll have more girls hockey coming up on Saturday as Fargo North South comes to Minot High to challenge the Majets. That's at the All Seasons Arena coming up on Saturday. The Davies boys challenge Minot High later that night at the All Seasons Arena. Top producers in girls hockey. Ashlyn Abrahamson from Devils Lake's got 17. So we'll do a pair of West Fargo United players at 17 and 15. Devils Lake, West Fargo, Fargo North. You got to go all the way down to number 7 to get across the state into the West region to find Michaela Flack. She's got 11 on the year. Emineth from Davies has 10. So does Belzer from Jamestown. Brenna Curl from Century's got 9. Sandra Sampson from Davies has 9 as well. All the way down to the top 15 where you see Greenwood from Grand Forks. There's a look at girls high school hockey and the top producers inside of our state of North Dakota. When we come back to Ice Time, we're going to talk to Jake Stach. This is a conversation that will give you a whole new respect for this referee and this official and his passion for this game of hockey. Jake Stach, one of a kind. Brain surgery on the 20th of December, 2022. Reffing in the North American Hockey League on the 29th of December, 2022. We'll talk to Jake Stach when we come back here to Ice Time with yours truly, Nick Hulberg.
Here. Less pomp, more adore, huh, Brittany?
Square face, wavy hair.
Mid-fade with a textured top. Finish it off with a hard part and taper that neckline, coach.
Cowlick, what's the move? It's not just all about hard work here.
Hit all. 7. Pressure. Point. Yeah.
It takes expertise to be a sport clip stylist.
Here.
That's a spot. Right there, huh?
Sport Clips, the pros in men's hair.
Welcome back to Ice Time with yours truly, Nick Hulberg. Special guest here today and a good buddy of ours on the PSP Network, good buddy of mine personally, Mr. Jake Stach joins us. Stacker, first things first, this was a unique holiday for you this year here in 22-23. Brain surgery, man. I mean, how are you? First things first, how are you doing?
Yeah. Hey, Nick, good to see you, by the way. Happy holidays to you and your family. Hope everything was good with you. Yeah, it was different to say the least. I'm doing good now. It's been a stressful couple of weeks, but, the thing that, I took out of it the most is just generally how lucky I am for the people in my life, for, everybody supporting me. It's sad to even say that, it takes times like these to truly understand, realize how many people have your back and, the people that love you and care about you and support you. But it was all the outpour of support I got. It was fantastic. And so I'm beyond blessed and ready to get back to normal life here.
I don't know, man. There's two questions, and I know you good enough where I can joke with you a little bit, but I think they might have loosened a screw maybe when you had the surgery, man, because you only have about 4 or 5 days off between brain surgery and reffing in the North American Hockey League, Bobcats and Toros, man. What was that like, going from being in the ICU, having brain surgery, and then you recover quickly, and then obviously one of your pure joys and ambitions in life is the sport of hockey. How much of a driving factor was that? What was it like stepping back on the ice after brain surgery within just not even 10 days, man?
Sure. I think you hit the nail on the head there. I remember when I went into surgery and I got done, I was sitting in the ICU and I knew before going in that I had the 2 games on with mine and Bismarck on the Friday, Saturday. And the New Year's weekend is always, the Toros and Bobcats weekend is always a big week in hockey. The guys are amped up. They're back from break. It's 2 fun games. The crowds are usually big time. And I remember sitting after surgery and with big snowstorm, the game that was on Thursday night was supposed to be last weekend. And so it got moved and I got an email being put on the game. And I kind of told my family and my girlfriend that was in the hospital, I said, my goal is to get up and do this game. And so, as much as I love being around the rink and as much as people supported me, that, when I was sitting in the hospital, my goal and my motivation, you could say, was to get back on the ice and do what I love to do. And so I sat there and I thought about, how much it meant to me to be out there, to do what I love to do. And so it kind of drove me to kind of push the limits a little bit and get back out there. And I'm happy I did. It was great to be back on the ice. And like I said, I just couldn't be more thankful of the position I'm in now.
Walk us through real quick what exactly the surgery was for. I mean, you hear brain surgery, man, and obviously that's something that isn't taken lightly. You want to give us the nuts and bolts of what the operation was?
Yeah, absolutely. So a couple years back, as I was growing up in high school, I would get weird, random kind of headaches and episodes. I didn't really think anything of it. I just thought I was a high school kid who was, going through stress and, just tired, not getting enough sleep. And then I remember early in my teaching career, I had a scary episode in class where I fainted. And, at that point, I was in my mid 20s and I was like, something needs to be looked at or, something's not right here. And so I went into the doctor, got some, brain scans done, some MRIs, some different tests ran, and found out that basically in the back of my brain, I had some blood vessels that weren't connecting right and were leaking some blood in my brain. And because of the blood that was in there, it created almost like a benign tumor. And so it was right near my brainstem. And so every couple of months I'd be going, I had some awesome, amazing doctors, both at Trinity and then down in Fargo. And so after these tests ran, after I got everything kind of sorted out, they're like, well, your options are to either, get this thing taken out or you take the chances and see what happens, see, how much longer we can go without anything being done. And so I remember I was down there, I went to some UND hockey games and then got down to Fargo this fall and at my last MRI, they kind of found out it was growing a little bit and they said, it's kind of now or never, you got to kind of make the choice. And so, I took a couple of days off of school and a couple of weeks off of reffing and thankfully got it done and got it taken out. And, like I said, my doctors were amazing, down in Sanford and Fargo. And so I was, I got it taken out, the Friday before Christmas. And then I was there for three days total. And then I was back home for the holidays. And, like I said, I'm super thankful. Last weekend I was back on the ice and couldn't have felt better. So I'm glad to be back and get back at it.
Surgery on the 20th, on the ice on the 29th. And it's not like you're reffing a Pee-wee game or a Mite game. Reffing the Bobcats, Toros in the North American League, man. I mean, it's crazy. And that I have to ask you, I mean, what is what's the risk level in doing that? I mean, were you walking a fine line and doing that? Are you still walking a fine line and doing that? Or are you fully healed right now?
Overall, there's good days and bad days still. Sleeping sometimes gets a little tough. The one thing I took for granted, I think, was I was getting ready in the locker room and I put my helmet on and I still got a pretty big, little size gulp over there, and my helmet almost couldn't get put on. And so I was like, oh my gosh, what am I getting myself into? But, like I said, it was, especially Montana Bismarck, it just in the North American League just doesn't get any better than that. And so, when I was in surgery and when I got my game assignments, my goal was, hey, I'm going to be ready and be back and get back to doing what I love to do. When I kind of told everybody and brought it out to public, I said, hey, I don't want a pity party. A lot of people have it a lot worse than I do. And I wanted to almost use it as a motivation for people that, hey, life may not be perfect sometimes, but battle through it and persevere and get back to do what you love to do. And so I'm glad I was able to do just that. Love you, man. Proud of you. Fantastic stuff. First of all, thanks for being a ref. And secondly, thanks for carrying on that passion and letting it drive you, man. Absolutely. I appreciate it. Appreciate all. I know you were reaching out, and for everybody who sent messages and thank yous, it meant the world to me, brought me to tears. And like I said, I'm just so thankful to be back doing what I love. The hockey community, as you know, it's second to none. It's the passion and how close people are. It's an amazing world, and I couldn't be more thankful and happy to be back doing what I love to do. I got to tell you, Matt Morelli, who calls the high school games with me, he's not hard on the refs. This would be a joke, but I got to give him the pass now. You got a free pass for at least a season, I'd have to think, on those somewhat questionable offsides and icings from time to time with not only him and me, but everybody else. I don't know about that. I'm first one to say I'm far from perfect. And so, hey, if I do anything wrong, I hope that people let me hear, because I got a Sanos out there. And so always trying to get better. So, hey, if I'm doing something wrong, I want to hear about it. So absolutely. I appreciate you, and I hope Matty Morelli knows I'm only joking too. He's not that hard on refs, and I've changed my ways too. But you certainly deserve a lot of credit here, and a lot of respect to you, my friend. And I'm excited to see you at the rink. I'm glad that things went well. Happy holidays, and glad to know that you're okay. Yeah, absolutely. Same back to you. Happy holidays to you and your family, and thanks for having me on. And like I said, I appreciate the love and support. It's meant the world to me. So I'm happy to be back and appreciate everyone's outpouring of love and appreciation. Jake Stach, an official in the Minot area, reffing in the North American Hockey League, 11 years as an official, and a guy that only in 9 days went from brain surgery to being on the ice in the North American Hockey League for Bobcats Toros. Catch you next time, man. Thanks again. Thanks, Nick. Appreciate it. See you soon.
Our stylists are trained to understand the nuances of cutting men's hair.
Less pomp, more adore, huh, Brittany?
Square face wavy hair.
Mid fade with a textured top. Finish it off with the hard part and taper that neckline, coach.
Cowlick, what's the move? It's not just all about hard work here.
Hit all. 7. Pressure. Point. Yeah.
It takes expertise to be a sport clip stylist.
Here.
That's a spot. Right there, huh?
Sport Clips, the pros in men's hair.
Welcome back to Ice Time with yours truly, Nick Hulberg. We've got a special guest that joins us now all the way from West Fargo, North Dakota. It's Mike Amundson, the executive director of West Fargo Events. First things first, Mike, happy holidays. How are things, man?
Hey, yeah, back at you. Things are great. We're just rolling in hockey season here in West Fargo and having a ton of fun with it, and family time and community time. It's all coming together.
How did you find the time with the Winter Classic that just got done wrapping up over in West Fargo? I didn't realize that you guys had that many games going on. I thought it was just high school action of Midcoast Sports.
It's a pretty cool event. 6 days, 68 teams, and well over 70 games. It's a ton of fun, and our entire community embraces this event and just has a good time with it. It's a celebration of hockey, but also it's a major economic booster for our local businesses too, and all of the great things that come along with people visiting your community. It's more than we could have ever asked for.
Essentia Health stepped up big for this, obviously, and you guys had so much work to do. Talk about the logistics, and first things first, where do you even start with an outdoor hockey week like that of 6 days? There's so many variables that could go wrong for you.
And they do. We got 20 inches of snow right before it, so everything was it was in just a panic mode right before, because we got Christmas with holidays and time off for all of our staff, and we're clearing snow, and we've got all these partnerships that need to come together for making all this happen. It's a big lift. We start constructing the rink in October every year. And then, we build that in phases as weather cooperates or doesn't cooperate, which does happen on occasion. And then we get to ice making and painting and all the fun stuff there, getting that done. And then we start a marketing lead up to make sure everyone knows what's coming, who's going to be coming. We had teams from 5 different states this year. So that was super fun. And, getting teams from Wisconsin and Iowa to come up, and South Dakota and Minnesota. So it's a lot of fun, a little bit of stress. The staff work hard over at West Fargo Events, and all of our partners as well. Essentia provides all the medical services for this event. Midcoast Sports comes in and broadcasts the high school premier matchups that we have going on outside at the lights. And then all of the other partners that play a role here, the city, the school district, Epic Companies owns the buildings around the plaza. I mean, it's wild, but it's so fun when we have, we get to people watch the spectators as a staff. We talk about, and every single family that's there, they've got their phones out, capturing the moment, having fun with their kids. They're bringing siblings along and just enjoying the experience. And that's what it's all about. It's a monster experience that happens in West Fargo.
1 to 10 for the kids that were involved in this. How big were the smiles? 1 to 10, man. They had to have been huge.
You wouldn't believe it. It's we had a Pee Wee B1 tournament after the high school boys played, and the high school boys, they love it, but they're all about that competition, right? When we get the Pee Wee B1 skaters going out there, and you watch when they skate through the Zamboni door, every single one of them jaw drops, and they just go, "Oh my gosh!" and their eyes get big, and it's every single team when they skate out there. That's the really fun stuff.
The thing that I'm curious the most about is that there's a misconception that when it's super cold outside, that's really good for fast ice. Of course, yes, that's going to be quicker, but it also means that ice is going to get dinged up quite a bit. How did the ice surface hold up after 6 full days of that?
Our ice crew is fantastic, and they work their tails off, repairing and patching constantly. Sometimes when it gets so frigid cold out, the ice actually dehydrates. It starts to shale away, and we need to get more water onto it just to be able to maintain it. So there is such a thing as being too cold. So we deal with that quite a bit throughout the course of the event, and the fluctuations in temperatures, they don't always help. But at the same time, that's why we've got refrigeration. So when we get too warm, we cool things down from the bottom up, and when we get too cold, we just repair from the top down.
I have to ask you this. I heard a rumor that with all the beautiful facilities around the Lights Arena right there, is it true you could have sat on the patio next to the fire, maybe having an ice cold Coors Light, eating some mozzarella sticks, watching hockey? Is that right?
That's a real thing. Yeah. Bar Down and Tati's Mediterranean are right on the doorstep, and that's fantastic. I think that they all enjoyed having all the traffic, but I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about all the other sponsors that are a part of it too. All those balconies are open for people, for entertaining, and people that have apartments there even just get to watch the games and have fun with it. And then around the lights, there's all these other businesses too that are also benefiting from it. So we've got all of these partnerships that are coming together, and we've got some great food and beverage sponsors like Traditions and Bar Down and Tati's and Blaze Pizza. You name it. Spicy Pie is a monster part of the event too. It's just awesome, everything that happens and comes together with this event.
Well, I know for a fact that hockey parents and hockey fans don't like to have any fun, so I'm sure it wasn't a fun time by any means out there.
I think our distributors are happy today.
I would have to think so, man. Tell me a little bit more about the Lights facility and just that whole complex there. I know that there's a beautiful indoor rink right there as well. Just touch on your facility altogether. It really is one of the premier in North Dakota.
Oh, sure. Yeah. It started with the school district years ago wanting to build their own hockey facility to supplement their program and their ice time needs. Right now they've got 5 teams, and soon enough they'll have 8 teams in West Fargo just for the school district alone. And so, they built the 2-sheet facility. They did a land swap involving the city and then the developer Epic, and then eventually Eagle Ridge Development got involved as well. And so they planned out this master plan complex that was going to be 2 indoor sheets of ice with potential to add a 3rd over at the West Fargo Sports Arena. And then at the lights, we've got community-owned space that the city owns, and that's the Essentia Health Plaza there in the middle of all those buildings. Well, then through West Fargo Events and our partnership with Arena Warehouse, we got to thinking, hey, we can kind of go crazy on this, and we can really do it right. The CVB partnered with us and gave us a few dollars along with the city and the developers, and then we were able to build what is now the Lights Ice Rink. And the amount of activity that thing generates every year is truly incredible. In 2 years, we've had over 56,000 people come out and utilize that ice rink alone, not just the plaza, the rink. And so that's the type of major usage that we're seeing here. And, it's not all about hockey all the time. We've got concerts in the summer, professional bull riding in late May, early June every year. And there's always something going on. There's always programs and events, and worst case scenario, it's like a public park. We got a splash pad, we got turf in the summer. It's great. But in the winter, it's all about that ice rink. That's for sure.
Those Cowboys know how to party just like hockey parents too, by the way. The bull riding sounds awesome. What other events are on the schedule? Do you have some big ones already planned out for the summer ahead?
Oh, sure. Yeah. We don't stop. We've got car shows. That Marvin has their premier car show with us every May. And then we go into bull riding mode. We set up an arena and bleachers and stands and the whole deal, and bring some animals in. That's with our friends over at Bailey Pro Rodeo. That'll bring that in with us yearly. And that's typically televised as well. So we got plenty of opportunity to get on people's TVs in North Dakota and regionally as well. Then moving into the summer, I can't reveal any names yet. They're not announced, but we've got some absolute bangers of concerts coming in for 2023. Our partners at Epic Events do all the major big shows, and then we facilitate with them to be able to pull it all together. And then, everything towards the end of the summer becomes about that family entertainment again. So then we bring in Stage West, our community theater. They're doing Jersey Boys and a couple of other great musicals this summer on the Midco stage at the Lights. And then we also do Kidchella, which is a kids music festival during the same time as We Fest every year. So that first weekend in August, we have a kids music festival out there, and we've got artists and all sorts of cool kid craft vendors and stuff. So we try to keep it programmed pretty heavily.
You're doing a great job, man. Hats off to you. That's a fantastic lineup that you've got coming up. Great job with the Outdoor Classic, man. I still can't get over it. Was there one memory that you had from this past Outdoor Classic that you'll remember forever? Is there anything special that happened or that will stick in your memory banks forever? The final question for you.
There's you told me good job, and that's great. I appreciate it, but I got to give kudos to the team of people I work with. Everyone at West Fargo Events and all of our partners work their tails off, and this is by no means a one-man show. I can tell you that much. All of our staff were pulling, 16-hour days, working like crazy, and giving up their time around the holidays. So I appreciate everyone at West Fargo Events that I get the pleasure of working with. When it comes to memories, I got to tell you, there's something pretty cool about, the feelings that you get when you see all those kids skating on the ice, and every single one of them is saying something along the lines of, wow. And then when the mayor of your community comes in and they just same reaction, and over again. It's just so cool that we get to, have that sense of pride when we see other people's reactions to what was created here in West Fargo. We're pretty proud of that.
I got goosebumps talking about it, man. Great job again, Mike. I sure appreciate your time. We'll see you at the hockey rink coming up. And when we get over to the east side of the state, I'll make sure to get together with you and check out Bar Down possibly.
For sure. We'd love to have you. Anytime you come on over to the Lights, I'll give you a tour of that plaza.
That sounds great. Thanks again, Mike. Mike Amundson, the executive director of West Fargo Events. More to come on Ice Time here with yours truly, Nick Hulberg.
Our stylists are trained to understand the nuances of cutting men's hair.
Less pomp, more adore, huh, Brittany?
Square face wavy hair.
Mid fade with a textured top. Finish it off with the hard part and taper that neckline, coach.
Cowlick, what's the move? It's not just all about hard work here.
Hit all. 7. Pressure. Point. Yeah.
It takes expertise to be a sport clip stylist.
Here.
That's a spot. Right there, huh?
Sport Clips, the pros in men's hair.